Star power can transcend different sports.
Tiger Woods didn't just blink, he froze. The man who has seen every impossible moment in golf history stood there, speechless, watching a scoreboard that looked like it had glitched. Because what he was seeing wasn't supposed to happen. Not here, not in golf, and definitely not from a basketball player. Caitlin Clark, the name that electrified arenas and shattered WNBA attendance records, just tore through golf's biggest expectations, like they were made of paper. The crowd was roaring, the cameras were shaking, and Tiger's expression said it all. Disbelief mixed with awe. It started as a quiet day at the RSM Classic Pro-Am. A fun celebrity event meant for laughs, autographs, and maybe a few highlight swings. But by the time Caitlin Clark picked up her driver, it felt like history was shifting in real time. Fans had lined up before sunrise, not to see Tiger or the LPGA stars, but to witness Caitlin. They wore Indiana Fever jerseys, not golf polos, turning the calm fairways into a sea of basketball devotion. The organizers couldn't believe it. Tickets that had been unsold for weeks vanished overnight. Even the broadcasters scrambled to make sure cameras were rolling because this wasn't just another celebrity showing up for charity. This was a storm about to hit the calmest sport on earth. The first thing people noticed was how she carried herself. No nerves, no hesitation, just that signature Clark confidence. She stepped onto the tee box like it was Game 7 of the finals, adjusted her grip, and unleashed a swing so clean it made the entire course go silent for half a second. Then, crack. The sound echoed across the fairway, sharp and perfect. The ball flew like it had a GPS locked on the target, landing 270 yards down the middle. Even Tiger Woods raised his eyebrows. "That's the best first swing I've ever seen from a non-pro," he whispered, half laughing, half stunned. The crowd erupted, screams, claps, phones recording every second. Within minutes, social media exploded. Caitlin Clark golf was trending #1 worldwide. Steph Curry tweeted, "Caitlin Clark might just be better than me at this point." ESPN called her the most natural crossover athlete since Michael Jordan. Golf Digest ran the headline, "Caitlin Clark just changed golf forever." The LPGA, realizing the gold mine in front of them, went into full promotion mode, sharing her highlights, interviews, and every smile she flashed on the course. And why wouldn't they? In one afternoon, Caitlin Clark brought more new eyes to women's golf than some entire seasons. The LPGA did what the WNBA still struggles with. They celebrated her, not silenced her. But this wasn't just hype. She backed it up. Every hole, every swing, every moment looked effortless. Reporters expected a few good shots, maybe a viral clip. But instead, they got dominance. She was hitting fairways like she'd been born on them, sinking putts with poise, and outdriving people who've played this game their entire lives. Hole after hole, the scoreboard started looking unreal. By the time she reached hole 7, a tricky par 4 that even seasoned pros dread, people whispered in disbelief. The commentators told her to play it safe. Caitlin doesn't do safe. She took a deep breath, locked in, and let it rip. The ball took off like it had somewhere to be high, smooth, laser straight. It landed on the green, rolled with perfect pace, and stopped inches from the cup. The crowd gasped so loud it drowned out the wind. Phones flew into the air. Even Tiger clapped. A near regal from a basketball player? It didn't seem real. The announcers lost their composure, laughing and shouting like fans in the stands. "Did that just happen?" one yelled. It did. By the end of her round, Caitlin Clark finished 13 under par, breaking the PROAM record. Think about that. 13 under, from a player whose day job is hitting step-back threes. Tiger Woods later told reporters that was one of the cleanest, most confident swings I've ever seen from someone outside professional golf. Coming from him, that's not praise, that's a coronation. From that moment, the Caitlin Clark effect hit the golf world like an earthquake. Ticket sales spiked 1,200% overnight. Sponsors flooded organizers' phones. Brands wanted her in commercials, apparel deals, even streaming partnerships to follow her golf journey. She reportedly signed multiple sponsorships that same week, one with a major sportswear brand, one with a golf equipment company, and another with a streaming service offering to chronicle her cross-sport adventure. In a single weekend, Caitlin Clark turned casual fun into a multi-million-dollar business empire. The LPGA wasn't just celebrating her. They were thanking her. Meanwhile, silence fell over the WNBA. Players who spent months throwing shade suddenly had nothing to say. A'ja Wilson, Angel Reese, all quiet. Fans noticed. One comment went viral. Funny how Caitlin breaks golf records and all her haters turn into ghosts? Another read, they had time to criticize her all season, but no time to say congrats. That silence says it all. On the other side, LPGA stars like Nelly Korda and Maria Fasci showed nothing but respect. "You belong here," Korda told her after the round. Simple, genuine, powerful. Maria added, "Caitlin's energy is pure. She brings what we've been missing." It was the perfect contrast. One sport embracing greatness, another pretending not to see it. What made it even more unreal was Caitlin's attitude. No bragging, no gloating, no media performance. When a reporter asked if she knew she broke a record, she laughed and said, "I didn't even know what the record was." That's the kind of humility that makes people love her. She stayed after the event, signing autographs for kids, taking photos, even giving golf tips, which is hilarious considering she just learned the game, but that's who she is. She connects. She doesn't perform for cameras. She interacts, and fans felt that deeply. By the end of the day, the tournament had earned more revenue than the last three combined. Golf merchandise, with her name, sold out. Broadcast ratings were through the roof. It wasn't just a game anymore. It was a phenomenon. Sports analysts called it the Clark shift, the moment women's golf found its crossover superstar, and Tiger Woods. He wasn't just impressed, he was inspired. Confidence, precision, and no fear. He said in an interview, "She's got it." Hours later, photos surfaced of him talking privately with her near the clubhouse. Insiders claimed he offered her a private training session. Tiger Woods doesn't hand out invitations like that. That's legacy acknowledging legacy. And just like that, Caitlin Clark, a basketball prodigy from Iowa, became the story of golf's future. One weekend, one swing, one smile. That's all it took to remind the sports world what true star power looks like. No drama, no politics, just performance. While the WNBA spent months debating her fame, the LPGA embraced it. While critics whispered jealousy, golf fans cheered inspiration. The message was clear. Greatness doesn't need permission. Caitlin Clark didn't just step onto the green, she owned it. She turned golf into a global headline, made Tiger Woods shake his head in disbelief, and proved once again that when she shows up, history follows. Because Caitlin doesn't chase greatness. Greatness chases her. And on that course, with every swing, every cheer, every stunned face, the world realized something it should have known all along. You can't contain someone born to rewrite the rules. Contain someone born to rewrite the rules. The moment Tiger Woods clapped for Caitlin Clark, the internet broke. But what came next shook the entire sports world to its core. Because this wasn't just about a viral swing or a broken record. This was about power, legacy, and the kind of spotlight that forces every league to ask itself a hard question. How did a basketball player just outshine an entire sport in one weekend? The morning after her record-breaking round, headlines were everywhere. ESPN replayed her swing like it was the winning shot of a championship. Golf Digest crowned her the future of crossover sports. CBS called her the athlete who makes greatness look easy. But behind those headlines was something deeper, a realization that Caitlin Clark doesn't belong to one sport anymore. She belongs to every arena that values excellence. The LPGA understood that instantly. Within hours, they were already brainstorming partnerships, special events, and new branding campaigns centered around her name. One executive leaked a line that spread fast online. "She's not a celebrity guest anymore. She's the headline." And that was the truth. Caitlin Clark had just become the most marketable athlete in the world. Not by design, but by doing what she always does, performing when the world's watching. What made the entire thing explode was how the LPGA handled it. Compared to the WNBA, the golf world didn't hesitate to celebrate her. They rolled out red carpets, posted highlight reels, and treated her like the icon she is. The WNBA, on the other hand, stayed awkwardly quiet. No tweets, no congratulatory posts, not even a mention on the league's main page. Fans saw it, and they weren't having it. Social media turned into a storm of comparison posts. One viral tweet showed two screenshots: LPGA posting "Caitlin Clark makes history," and the WNBA posting a shoe ad. The caption: "One league promotes stars, the other promotes silence." Brutal, but true. For months, the WNBA had tried to manage her fame, downplay her popularity, and control the narrative around her rise. But this weekend, the control was gone. Caitlin didn't need permission to shine. She didn't need a league's validation. She had the crowd, the cameras, and now Tiger Woods' approval. That combination alone was unstoppable. Fans began tagging major brands saying, "If you want your product to sell, put Caitlin Clark on it." And they did. Within 48 hours, she reportedly signed 3 massive endorsement deals, one with a luxury watch company, one with a golf apparel giant, and one with a global beverage brand launching a new campaign built entirely around her. Combined, over $15 million in contracts. That's more money than most WNBA players make in their entire careers. And it wasn't about greed or comparison. It was about value. Caitlin's presence brought viewership, engagement, and genuine passion. She turned golf broadcasts that usually pulled sleepy Sunday numbers into primetime blockbusters. Tiger Woods couldn't stop talking about her. In interviews, he said, her confidence reminded him of himself when he first broke through, fearless, precise, and calm under pressure. That quote alone sent shockwaves through sports media. Fans began calling her Tiger 2.0, and even golf purists admitted they hadn't seen hype like this in years. Then came the viral photo, Tiger and Caitlin laughing together by the clubhouse, mid-conversation, like two legends from different worlds who just understood each other. Insiders leaked that Tiger offered her a private session at his practice facility, something he rarely does for anyone. That rumor alone had fans begging for a collaboration. Imagine Tiger coaching Caitlin for a season. One post read, "Golf would never be the same." But this story wasn't just about her swing. It was about the ripple effect, how one woman's talent was shifting the culture of sports. Golf fans who'd never watched basketball suddenly Googled Caitlin Clark highlights. Basketball fans who'd never cared about golf were suddenly analyzing tee shots. That's her superpower connection. She bridges worlds. She doesn't ask for fans. She creates them. And the funniest part? Caitlin herself seemed unfazed. When reporters asked if she was considering joining the LPGA full-time, she smiled and said, "Let's just say I'm keeping my options open." Classic Clark, confident, mysterious, and in total control. That one line became a headline everywhere. Caitlin Clark keeps options open. Is golf next? Suddenly, everyone had an opinion. Sports podcasts debated whether she should leave basketball for golf. Analysts called her the biggest cross-sport talent since Bo Jackson. Even LeBron James joined the conversation, reposting her clip with a caption, "Different breed." The praise was universal, except from a few familiar names. Aja Wilson, Angel Reese, and others stayed silent. Again, fans noticed. Comment sections under their posts were flooded with one question. No congrats for Caitlin. The silence spoke volumes. Whether it was pride, jealousy, or just pure awkwardness, the contrast was impossible to ignore. LPGA stars like Nelly Korda were hugging Caitlin on the green, while her supposed peers in the WNBA pretended not to see. The internet called it poetic justice. The same people who said she was overhyped now had to watch her conquer a new sport on live television. One fan put it perfectly. They tried to box her in. She just broke the box. But while others stayed bitter, Caitlin stayed busy. Behind the scenes, sponsors were fighting to sign her. Golf networks were preparing replays. And LPGA officials were in talks to create an annual Caitlin Clark Invitational. Yes, that's real, a proposed pro-am named after her because she generated record-breaking revenue in one appearance. Golf merchandise with her initials sold out in hours. Ticket resellers couldn't keep up. She didn't just elevate the event, she elevated the entire league. Economists even estimated her appearance boosted local tourism by 40% that weekend. Hotels, restaurants, transportation, all because Caitlin Clark showed up. That's not hype, that's impact. And through it all, she stayed humble. Her parents, who were there watching, said they weren't even surprised. Her mom told one interviewer, every time she tries something new, she gives it her all. Her dad laughed and said, "We stopped being shocked a long time ago." That line became an instant meme. We stopped being shocked. Because honestly, who could still be surprised? Caitlin Clark doesn't just break records. She resets the expectations of what an athlete can be. Then came the next twist, the business boom. Within a week, Caitlin's golf weekend had created what analysts were calling the Clark economy. Streaming services wanted documentaries. Brands wanted her face on billboards. Magazines fought for cover rights. Even Hollywood insiders reportedly reached out about a biopic. She had turned a casual pro-am into a global business wave. And yet, when asked about it, she said, "I'm just focused on getting better." That humility, that focus, is what keeps her unstoppable. She's not chasing fame. Fame is chasing her. Tiger Woods said it best. She makes you want to be better, even if you're already great. From one legend to another, it doesn't get higher than that. And now, as the golf world watches her next move, one truth stands taller than any trophy. Caitlin Clark didn't just cross into golf. She crossed into history. The WNBA may have tried to control her narrative, but golf just handed her the pen. The next chapter. It's hers too, right? And the world's already watching. The world stopped when Caitlin Clark stepped back onto the golf course. Because what everyone was about to witness wasn't a comeback, it was a declaration. The kind of moment that forces every athlete, every fan, every critic to ask themselves whether they're watching a player or a phenomenon. Cameras didn't just record her that morning, they trembled in awe. The crowd, stretching across the fairway, wasn't there for a tournament. They were there for a transformation. This wasn't Caitlin Clark, the basketball superstar. This was Caitlin Clark, the unstoppable force of nature who decided that boundaries no longer applied to her. From the moment she gripped the club, there was silence. The kind of silence that happens right before history changes. And then, with one clean, precise swing, she shattered every expectation again. The sound of the ball slicing through the air was electric, echoing like the swish of her famous deep threes. Even the pros players who'd spent decades mastering the sport turned to watch in disbelief. What they saw wasn't luck. It was mastery born from the same fire that made her the face of the Indiana Fever. The WNBA's biggest draw, and a generational athlete unlike any other. But this moment was about more than skill. It was about power, the kind of power that can't be coached, marketed, or bought. Caitlin Clark wasn't just swinging a golf club. She was swinging at the very idea that athletes should be confined to one box. Every drive, every putt, every subtle movement said the same thing. Asterisk, you don't tell me what I can't do. And that message rippled across the sports world like an earthquake. Commentators called it the Caitlin Clark Effect 2.0. Social media exploded again. Within hours, her clips were trending in over 30 countries, surpassing every LPGA highlight of the past year combined. ESPN anchors compared her presence to Serena Williams' dominance, and one even said, if Caitlin Clark entered the Masters, she'd break the internet. Golf wasn't ready for her, but the world was. Because Clark represented something that sports had been missing for years: authenticity, courage, and the kind of effortless charisma that makes every young girl watching believe she can do anything. And the numbers proved it. The course that day, normally drawing a few thousand spectators, saw more than 30,000 in attendance, nearly WNBA finals-level crowds. Merchandise booths sold out within hours. And sports brands flooded her team's inbox with sponsorship offers that blurred the lines between basketball and golf. Nike, Callaway, and even Rolex were reportedly in talks to create the first-ever dual-sport endorsement campaign. One insider leaked a potential tagline that went viral instantly. Caitlin Clark, greatness has no boundaries. But while corporate deals were buzzing, the real story was unfolding in the reactions of other athletes. Serena Williams tweeted, "She reminds me of me." LeBron James posted, "Different level of greatness." Caitlin Clark is built different. Even Tiger Woods, a man who rarely hands out praise, wrote simply, "Respect. That's what greatness looks like." Those 6 words became a movement, printed on shirts, signs, and social banners worldwide. Because deep down, everyone understood Caitlin wasn't just playing sports. She was changing how the world defined them. What happened next sealed her legend. On the final hole of that day's exhibition, Caitlin faced a near-impossible putt. Wind conditions were brutal, the angle deceptive, and the distance just long enough to test even elite pros. The crowd hushed, holding its breath. Caitlin smiled that same fearless grin she wears before draining a 30-footer in the clutch and lined up her shot. One smooth stroke later, the ball rolled across the green, kissed the edge of the cup, and dropped in dead center. The crowd erupted. The roar wasn't just applause, it was disbelief, joy, and pride colliding all at once. Reporters scrambled to capture it. Commentators called it the most iconic crossover moment in sports history. And Caitlin? She just laughed, raising her putter toward the sky before saying, "Basketball or golf, I just love to compete." That single quote became immortal. It wasn't arrogance, it was truth. Caitlin Clark had become something bigger than the game she played. She had become a symbol of unfiltered ambition, the kind that refuses to shrink in the face of expectation. By the end of the week, the story had transcended sports entirely. News outlets that never covered the WNBA or women's golf suddenly couldn't stop talking about her. The BBC called her the athlete rewriting modern fame. Time magazine teased a cover feature titled Asterisk, Caitlin Clark and the Age of Boundless Greatness. Schools began using her as a case study in sports marketing. And universities analyzed the Clark effect as a blueprint for cross-platform athletic stardom. But for Caitlin, none of that mattered. What mattered was the feeling, that same rush she'd felt since childhood, when competition was pure before fame and noise. She wasn't chasing applause. She was chasing excellence. And that's why fans adore her, because she makes the impossible look inevitable. Her story isn't about switching sports. It's about switching mindsets. About reminding every athlete that greatness isn't measured by where you play, it's measured by how far you're willing to push yourself beyond what's expected. As she walked off the green that day, the sun dipped low, painting the sky in gold and scarlet. Fans reached out, chanting her name, not as a basketball player, not as a golfer, but as a legend who had somehow merged both worlds into one unbreakable legacy. And maybe that's the real magic of Caitlin Clark. She doesn't just compete. She connects. She connects generations, sports, and dreams. She stands as living proof that greatness isn't given, it's built. Swing by swing, shot by shot, moment by moment. And in that moment, with the world watching and history echoing her name, Caitlin Clark didn't just conquer golf. She conquered the very limits of imagination. There are moments in sports that live forever. Moments that don't just belong to scoreboards, trophies, or record books, but to the hearts of millions who watch in awe and realize they're witnessing something bigger than competition. When Caitlin Clark stepped onto that golf course, the world didn't know it was about to change. The same young woman who had already redefined basketball, who had carried an entire league on her shoulders, who had fought through criticism, pressure, and endless comparisons, was now standing in front of a new kind of challenge. The air was tense, the crowd silent, and even the camera crews whispered, knowing this wasn't just another sports event. It was history in motion. And then she did what only Caitlin Clark could do, she swung with grace. Power and calm that didn't just send a golf ball flying into the record books. It sent every doubter crashing into silence. The ball soared through the sky like destiny itself had taken flight, landing with precision so perfect that even the officials hesitated, their voices trembling as they confirmed what everyone already knew: a Guinness World Record had just been broken. The crowd erupted. Strangers hugged each other. Children screamed her name. Reporters forgot their scripts. And somewhere in that chaos stood Tiger Woods, eyes wide, shaking his head with the kind of disbelief reserved for witnessing the impossible. He whispered, "That's greatness," and the world agreed. But behind that powerful moment was something even deeper: the story of a girl who refused to quit. Caitlin's journey wasn't written in comfort. It was carved through sleepless nights, lonely workouts, and the kind of doubt that would have crushed anyone else. From Iowa's cold gyms to the blazing spotlight of the WNBA. She faced critics who said she wasn't ready, who said her fame would fade, who said she'd never make it this far. But she didn't fight them with words, she fought them with work. And when she crossed over from basketball to golf, people laughed again. "She can't do that," they said. "Stay in your lane." But Caitlin doesn't believe in lanes. She believes